I don't want your data, I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. I just wanna be free. I don't want your desire. Looks like I'm in sunny Montreal, but it's actually not really sunny. Should I? Oh, hey, the sun is coming out. Yay! Just every time I'm like, I need to relearn the keyboard. How do I empty my hands again? Oh, I did. Calculate. Shit. There you go. How do I... Now how do I get my... Okay, so G to empty my hands. And how do I get my keyboard, my mouse back now? Okay, no, that's not that. No. What's that? Global event. Ooh, 0.34 bed. That's pretty good. What on? Map. Oh, mollusk. Fuck. Okay. Mollusk. What is this down? Escape current? Oh, the can. Can't remember what escape current is anyway. So I'm still figuring out things, obviously. I just like to wander around peacefully. Oh, too. And find des minéraux. Oh, pourquoi ça a reseté? Je l'ai pas fermé. Anyway, crude oil. Pas beaucoup. Puis belle carte. Cool. Bonjour, bonjour. How are you? If you can hear me, wave at me in the chat. So I'm just going around and trying to find some minerals because I don't want to fight, I don't want to kill. I know, right? What kind of gamer am I? Because it's too stressful. I don't want to be rushed, I don't want to be like under pressure of dying. I want to be strategic and discover. Can I close that? Because it's taking some space that I don't really care for. There you go, that's gonna be better. Those people talk. Those people that I haven't seen in a freaking long time because I never joined the game. Can I move that as well? Yeah, okay. But maybe I want to have a few lines just to know what's going on. And so I'm just going around visiting and making sure I don't get killed by some mobs. And looking at the trees and beautiful sunset and sunrise and water. And that is it. Oh, yay! I'm just there. Just one. Milky water. I need some milky water. $26, that's pretty good. 14, that's pretty good. As long as I get something, I'm happy. Because for me that game is more about like exploring and discovering the cool flora and staying away from the fauna as much as possible. Oh, where is that going? Show me love. I don't think I want to visit again. Why would I? Been there and don't want to go back. Why would anyone? Show me love. I freed myself from this crazy world a tiny bit, but for how long can I keep that freedom is the question. Because freedom is only there until someone else come and take it away from you, so they can be a pain in the ass for their own sake. Freedom is like a resource. Someone's freedom can be taken away for someone else's control's sake, and so they can control you. They will take it away from you so they can feel good about themselves. That is the nastiness of it. Those swaps are gonna fuck you up just so they can feel good about themselves to disrupt someone. That's the sadness. So I'm supposed to have... Can I use that on that? No. They're gonna kill you with love. That's what we need to fight against. Their shallow ego that needs to have control over everyone else. Oh, I was sitting on it. Their shallow ego that they can't get rid of, and they will bully you to satisfy this shitty ego. They will kill you with love just so they can take away your freedom and your money. And they still believe they're good people. What the fuck is this tree? So weird. On the floor, found you long ago. Long ago. Oh, okay. Their ego, their shallow ego, because they can't move past it, because they don't have emotional intelligence. They are very... Oh, shit. That's good. Oh, and it's gone. That's the delusion of those wasps. If you don't know what wasps are, it's white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And they will come for you just to fuck with you. They don't like to see other people happy. They need to undermine you and come and fuck with you because you being sustainable is something they will never be able to do. And so they will come and get you just because they can't learn anything, they know everything, so they can't learn from anyone. That's where the world is going to fuck itself. Just don't think about it. I cannot not think about it. Emotional intelligence is something that is not really developed through bullying and toxic love, but they don't understand that. Because admitting that they can be wrong, that they can be nasty, and undermining anyone around them psychologically for the sake of bullying them so they can have control and power and the advantage over someone else. They can't cooperate, they don't understand that concept. It's the mob mentality, which kind of goes hand in hand with mentality. It's Nietzsche's understanding of, if I can't be better because I don't want to, then no one should be better. If you're happy and sustainable doing what you enjoy, that doesn't please me, because if you're happy, I can't control you. I can't exploit you. And so, I will destabilize your life, your country, your whatever it is, to drive the drama. Because creating chaos for them is a way of creating value for themselves. And they still make everyone believe they're good people. That's the problem. It's good that I don't see any mob. I don't want to have to deal with mobs. Whether it's the mobs in the game or the mob setting traps in Australia or wherever else. Because if there's something that I don't like, it's traps. I like naps, not traps. And I'm not fully sustainable, far from it. No one really is completely. Like Alan Watt says, there's always a way to fuck up the game, and if you win, the game is not fun anymore. Well, I have ways to keep the game going for myself. I don't need someone else to fuck me up, so that's maybe a difference again. But maybe we should strive for... Oh shit, what are those? See, I jinx myself. Why do I always jinx myself? Oh, level 4. I should be alright. If I don't disturb you, you don't disturb me, and everyone's gonna be happy, right? That's the way that's my philosophy of life. Live and let live. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me, everyone is living happily forever after, right? So please, don't be a wasp. Hello. Alright. No resource. Just dance, enjoy life instead of wasting it on a job that is not valuable. Creating value for someone else? No, thank you. Oh, what? Well, I've used my... Oops. I never know how to set it up. I wish they could do a more better a more intuitive way of dealing with that. I'm always confused. Okay. There you go. Better be some more. I just love the landscape and all that. It's so beautiful, especially that water and that reflection. I'm just loving it. Okay, let's... Oh, okay. I reached the end. Good old me. I guess so. Do I try to go on the other side, or do I try to go over there? I think I can try to go over there. That's going to be easier. I hope there's no piranhas in there. Do you want me to put some Alan Watts? You must go it alone. I did.
Tradition, which is handed down. A shaman doesn't. He receives his enlightenment by going off into the forest by himself, to be completely alone.
Completely. That's
a shaman
the best way.
is a man, in other words, who has undergone solitariness. He's gone away into the forest to find out who he really is, because it's very difficult to find that out while you're with other people. The reason is that other people are busy all the time telling you who you are. In many, many ways. By the laws they impose on you, by the behavior ruts they set on you,
The laws.
by the things they tell you, by the fact that they always call you by your name, and by the fact that when you live among people you have to be in a state of ceaseless chatter.
Ceaseless chatter, that means
But
nothing
if you
because
want to
the
find
language
out
is so
who you are before your
flaky.
father and mother conceived you, who you really are, you almost have to go off by yourself.
Narcasium.
Go into the forest, stop
Narcasium.
talking, stop thinking words, and be absolutely alone. Listen to the great silences. And then, if you're lucky, you recover from the illusion
Go back to
that you're
school
just
if you're lucky.
little me, that's so-and-so, and you attain the state of nirvana, which means the blown-out state, the relieved state, the sigh of relief. Nirvana may be translated into English as
My gosh,
phew.
I'm so lucky.
I
L'Italian
have last
does.
discovered that I don't have to
Okay.
survive. I can survive, of course, but I don't really have to. Because you discover, you see, that what you really are doesn't have to survive, because it's what there is. The real you is it, or that. Tat tvam asi, that art thou, as the Hindus say. So then, in the normal life of India, which is not a hunting culture, but a settled culture, there are priests, but there is something beyond the priest. That is to say, when a man or woman has fulfilled his or her life in the world of society,
I'm gonna come back.
it's the normal thing to do for a person to quit their status in society and become what's called a forest dweller. That is almost, you see, to go back to the hunting culture. They divide people into two classes: grihastha, which means householder, and vanaprastha, which means forest dweller. And the older people all hand over their occupations and positions to their children.
Why do I get those notifications?
And enter the stage of vanaprastha, or become a shramana.
Why?
And go outside the stockade. I'm speaking metaphorically. They sometimes do actually, they sometimes don't. And become a nobody. They give up their name.
Yay.
That is to say, the label which designates who they are in terms of caste or class. They become unclassified people.
Unclassified.
That's why, strictly speaking, you see, Hinduism and Buddhism are not religions. You can classify the religions. You could say, what's your denomination? Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Quaker, etc., 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 you see. But strictly speaking, a vanaprastha, a shramana, has no label. He is an unlabeled bottle. So, in the time when the Buddha lived, about 600 BC, the Hindu system had become somewhat decadent. It isn't altogether clear what had happened to it, but it is certain that it did seem in some way to be in need of reform. And so, there were many reasons for this. And the Buddha, as a young man, being basically troubled by the great problems that we're all troubled with, the problem of suffering,
Whoa.
and the problem of
Whoa.
what all this universe is about, he in
Level
turn
284.
followed the methods that were then being used by people who were shramanas or vanaprasthas, forest dwellers. And at that time, it's very apparent that the main method that these people were using was an ascetic discipline. Starvation, very arduous meditation practices, probably self-flagellation, things of that kind. And it's said that for 7 years he practiced these austerities. But he found out that they didn't lead to liberation. And all the people who were practicing them knew they didn't either. But they felt that that was only because they weren't doing it hard enough. And so he propounded instead the middle way. The way that led to liberation.
So what do I do now?
From the rat race that I've drawn here. Neither through austerities, nor through pleasure seeking. See, these are the two ways, the two paths. People who say, the whole point of life is to enjoy it, to get the most out of it, you see.
I know, right?
The other people who tried that, and then they found it was sour grapes or something, you know, or they burned their fingers in the pursuit of pleasure. The girl that was so beautiful eventually fell apart, or was turned into a shrew, and whatever it was. And so they said, instead, let us torment ourselves. A lot of people enjoy this, or get something special out of it. I was in Mexico this summer, and what I went there for was to study Mexican Catholicism. where they make a great cult of suffering. And I was very puzzled about this, wanted to understand. And everywhere, you know, they have these ghastly, tormented Christs, all drooling with blood, hanging on crosses in very contorted positions. And I realized there are certain people who find that sitting on the tip of a spike is the realest place in the world. Because when you're on the tip of a spike, you know you're there. There's no doubt about it. And also you know that you're expiating for everything. This, somehow by sitting on the spike, you are paying for your guilt. And so long as you hurt, you're all right. See?
No.
So these shamanas were doing something of the same kind. And the Buddha became enlightened. Became a Buddha. He woke up. At the moment when he gave up that kind of quest. The moment he gave up, as we should say, trying to take the kingdom of heaven by storm.
Oh shit.
Now, what does this mean?
Oh shit.
It means...
Whoa.
That in his time...
I nearly died.
The way of liberation had become competitive, which meant it was on the wrong track. There are a lot of people who, we call it the holier-than-thou attitude. But we find it today with some objectionable Westerners who go over to Japan to study Zen Buddhism.
Is it gonna die?
And then come home and brag about the great disciplines they've undergone.
Yeah, it did.
And say, I sat with my legs crossed in one position for 10 hours as distinct from somebody else who only sat for 5. And always there's this tendency, you know, to have a marathon and be in a competition with others or with oneself about these things. But the moment you do that, you're back on the wheel. The best thing you can get by asceticism is to get up to the Deva world. You can't get anywhere else by it.
Can I...
You may get down to the Naraka world by asceticism too. Read the story Thais by Anatole France. So, he found, you see, that the real path, the middle way, the meaning of the middle way is that it's the path that can't be followed. Because to get you onto the middle way, I have to get into a dialogue with you see, and you say to me, because after all it's always the student that raises the problem, not the teacher. You say, well now what's the right thing to do? I say back to you, why are you looking for the right thing to do? Then you have to consider your situation, where you are. You say, well, I'm looking for the right thing to do because I feel that I'm in the wrong situation. I don't have peace of mind. Why do you want peace of mind? Because my mind is disturbed. Then in other words, you as a disturbed mind are trying to find peace of mind. Your quest for peace of mind is the same thing as having a disturbed mind. Now, if you don't have a disturbed mind, you won't ask for peace of mind. Well, how can I quiet my mind? Why are you asking to quiet your mind? Because it's disturbed. You see where you are? So in this way, by this dialogue, the guru, the teacher, brings a person back to center. So then this is the point. All Buddhist teaching is a dialogue. Really and truly, the man who goes out and leaves society and becomes a monk is a little bit too much. Buddhism involves this act as a preliminary gesture. But what it comes to in the end is the position of what's called a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva means somebody who went out of society, or we should say gave up the world in some way, took on the robe, took on the discipline. He found what he was looking for, but his finding it was absolutely simultaneous with
Whoa.
his coming back into society.
I'm making
And he's
some
called
money.
a bodhisattva, as distinct from a pratyeka Buddha, which means a private Buddha, one who goes out and doesn't come
Wow,
back.
I did like probably 2 pairs or
And the
something.
bodhisattva is considered as having a superior
Yay!
attainment.
I'm so happy. Happiness is a state of mind. I did 2 pairs and I'm happy with
The important thing
it.
to remember then is Buddhism is a dialogue.
Give me more.
Its teaching is a method and not a doctrine.
Crude oil.
Now, the teaching of Buddhism is summed up in what are called the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, the truth about the origin of suffering, the truth about the ceasing of suffering, and the truth about the way to the ceasing of suffering. Dukkha, D-U-H-K-H-A, is the Sanskrit word we translate suffering. Discord, frustration, something like that. That's always the problem, you see. And this, because of suffering, is the reason why human beings seek out teachers and saviors.
It's not.
I
okay,
hurt,
that's fine. I'll take it anyway.
and I don't want to hurt. So that's the universal problem, see, that everybody brings. So then the teacher replies to this problem by saying, you suffer because you crave things.
My gosh, there's so much
Trishna,
resources here.
T-R-I-S-H-N-A, from which we get our word thirst. Trishna, craving or desire, is the cause of suffering. That's the second truth. Now, the Buddhist analyzes this a bit.
Oh, sorry. Okay, next. More resources. More resources. Oh, let me go back to
the world is dukkha. It's full of frustration, and it's also characterized by impermanence, anitya, and by non-entityness, anatman. That means that no thing exists independently. Everything is a thing only in relation to everything else. Therefore, there are no separate things, no real selves, or souls, or egos. And trying to cling to the world, which is necessarily changing, trying to have a separate self and to protect it. All these things are Trishna. They are the cause of dukkha.
Trishna.
So the teacher, having said this, then the student comes back and says, well, how do I get rid of Trishna? If Trishna, desire, is the cause of suffering, couldn't I get rid of desire so as not to suffer? And the teacher says, well, you try. And
You
this
try.
then is the first part of the discipline, to try not to desire, to calm your mind, to practice centering, to practice getting rid of all what they call klesha, K-L-E-S-A, disturbing thoughts, distractions, evil passions,
Welcome.
immoderate appetites, and come to upeksha, or equanimity of mind. And so the student practices that. And this is a very difficult and arduous discipline. And all the time he sees the teacher watching him with a slightly sour expression on his face. And he knows, of course, or thinks he knows, that the teacher is fully aware of his inmost thoughts. Because, you know, it's the Indian way. They go to meeting with the teacher. The teacher sits under a tree and smokes a cigarette or a pipe or something. And all the students sit around cross-legged and they meditate. Sometimes the teacher meditates. And they can see him occasionally looking at them like this, you know. And they think, uh-oh, the teacher knows what I'm thinking. Because he has the power of infinite vision, you see, and all seeingness. And this bugs them completely. Because you see, you remember how it was in school when you were trying to do something and the teacher walked around and looked over your shoulder? It puts you off completely. And so the Hindu teacher or the Buddhist teacher deliberately puts his students off. And finally he raises in their minds an insoluble problem. That if you are trying to stop desire so that you will not suffer, aren't you still desiring to stop desire? Or the students may very well find that out for themselves. And they say to the teacher, but how are we to stop desire when we are desiring to stop desire? So then the teacher can engage them in an extremely marvelous trap.
A marvelous trap.
Which is to say, that he can play it in a number of different directions. One direction is to say, well, don't try to stop all desire, but try to stop as much desire as you can stop.
I don't have any finders in
See
there?
where this is going to go. Then they're going to say, well, I'm a little excessive about desiring to stop desire. Well, if you're naturally excessive about it, he says, try to be as slightly excessive as you can. You see? Now, do you see what's leading here? If you follow that course, you are being brought to center. In the same way as I demonstrated before. You're being brought to yourself. To accept yourself as you are here now, totally. But you can't do that directly. Because if you try to accept yourself, you will always find that in yourself there is a spirit of the non-acceptance of things. And you have to accept that. So the teacher would say, don't try to accept yourself more than you can accept yourself. Accept yourself as much as you can accept yourself. Because then you see you are also accepting the part of you that doesn't accept. Or he may try on another tack. He may say, all right, now, if you've seen that it's that desiring not to desire is simply another form of desire. You're trying, for example, to get rid of your sensuous appetites. You are going to give up booze and women and pâté de foie gras or whatever it may be. And you then think, well, now, yes, this I must do. And eventually,
bees.
you find
I don't like bees.
that you are becoming proud of your success in mastering your appetites. And you're beginning to depend on that.
I guess I could earn a beat on the way.
So the teacher says, do you see you're in the same trap as you always were?
Oh, the freaking
Formerly
traps.
you sought spiritual security in booze and women and so on. Now you're seeking it in holiness.
Ooh.
Formerly you bound yourself with chains of iron. Now you're bound with chains of gold.
Oh.
Formerly you boasted to all the boys how many sins you committed. Now you're boasting before the Lord of how many virtues you have.
Come back.
Same trap. Why do you do it? So the student eventually finds there's no way at all to not desire.
No.
Even desiring not to desire is desiring. Even trying to accept oneself is a way of trying to escape from oneself, because one hopes psychotherapeutically that by accepting yourself you will get rid of your nasty symptoms. So you're not accepting them. You're not accepting them by the gimmick, by the pretense of trying to accept them.
Say you remember.
So this is the way in which the dialogue of Buddhism begins to work. And as it progresses step by step, let me try and show you a little bit more how it works, because I'm shortening it enormously in order to give you an outline of the whole thing. What is going on between the teacher and the student, the Buddha and his disciples, is not merely a dialogue. There is the verbal dialogue, yes, that goes on. But there also, it spread over a long period of time. And in the intervals, the students are practicing meditations. They are making efforts to control their minds and emotions, and practicing those things which are the Buddhist equivalents of yoga. So that in parallel to the intellectual discussion, there is going on a total devotion of one's whole being to a quest.
And
morning,
baby,
noon,
that's
and night.
Right.
And so you see, this works up a very considerable psychic alertness. It makes the student put a very considerable psychic investment in the task. And as he goes on, you see, he becomes more and more frustrated. Because as the trap closes, and he finds that it's impossible to do the right thing, because the right thing is always done for the wrong reason. When the wrong man uses the right means work in the wrong way.
Yep.
You see? There is something you could do to attain liberation, or as the Christian would say, union with God, if you could do it. But the Christian would say, by reason of original sin, you can't. Because through original sin, everybody is basically selfish. And you can't be unselfish for a selfish reason. But you have only selfish reasons.
Oops.
So, to him that hath shall be given. But of course he doesn't need it. From him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath.
For your own survival,
Well,
yes.
what is he to do? So you see, in this way, the teacher closes a trap on the student, where he finds himself completely impotent. Not only can he not do anything that will bring about his salvation, he is also unable not to do anything. One might say, you must do nothing. You must be completely passive. But you can't do that. Because the moment you try to be passive, you're doing something. So you get into the state which they call in Zen Buddhism a mosquito biting an iron bull. Or as we would say in our Western idiom, the state when the irresistible force meets the immovable object. Where something must be done.
Let's try to see this one. I don't remember what that
simply
is.
Cannot be done. And in this state of maximum frustration,
Let's go!
there is an opportunity to understand the situation. To understand that the meaning of the state, I cannot do, I cannot not do. The meaning of this state is that the separate I which you thought yourself to be is an illusion. That's why it cannot do and why it cannot not do.
Yay.
You see,
With that.
what is our I?
Hey,
Our
buddy.
ego.
Oh, you have a Daikiba.
Sometime in the development of man, maybe 3, 4, 5,000
Daikiba
years ago,
Okay, so
we developed self-consciousness in a peculiar way.
trade terminal.
We
I need to refine.
began to realize
I can
that by directed thought, we could control our
sell
environment.
all that stuff.
And then it was, you see, that we had a sense
As
of
it's
responsibility.
limited anyway,
Let's
so I
just
can
assume,
prepare
for the
it.
sake of argument, that there was a time when nobody deliberated. They did exactly what they felt like. When you were hungry, you ate. When you were thirsty, you drank. When you were
So
angry,
because
you
they're
did something.
limited, I can't.
When you were happy, you danced.
I will never be able
But
to
you
use
never
them
stopped
again.
to think what was the right thing to do.
So I'm doing what?
You just trusted your intuition, your
Zero to
instincts,
bed,
your
okay.
unconscious, or whatever it might be called. Well, that was great, because nobody worried. Nobody had any problems when it was like that. See, a baby is in the same situation
do I
today.
have more in my storage?
Now, maybe you were unsuccessful. Maybe the thing you did spontaneously was absolutely the
do.
wrong thing, and the tiger ate
Oh,
you
but that's
up.
102,
Well, that was all right.
103,
Because it really doesn't matter if the tiger eats you up, so long as you weren't spending
Okay,
your previous
so
time worrying
I've
about it.
used them all.
See, everybody dies. And if you die clunk like that, that's that. You don't spend all your life before you die worrying about death. You don't spend all your time before you get sick worrying about getting sick. And when you see you
What's
move on
next?
that level of
So what should I
unpremeditated, spontaneous
read?
behavior, that's the golden age.
Zero.
And the reason people look back with nostalgia to the golden age is because that was the time of irresponsibility. But when people began to see that they could provide for the future, and that they could look after things and take care and direct everything, immediately anxiety came into the world. See, that was the fall of man. Because then, the moment you start doing that, you begin to think, now, having thought this question through, and decided that such and such is the right thing to do, have I thought it over carefully enough? Now, that's a real bugaboo of a question. You know, you go out of the house and you wonder, did I turn off the gas stove? I think I did, but on the other hand, I'm not quite sure. Let's go back and see. So having gone about 5 blocks, you walk back. Yes, you did turn it off. And so you go out again. You wonder again. Now, I wonder if I really looked, or whether I was so keen on finding out that I did turn it off that some sort of wishful thinking perverted my consciousness, and whether I hadn't better check that I really did look properly. See? Well, this way you never get away. You're trapped. So this, you see, is the problem of all self-conscious beings. They are they feel responsibility, then they feel responsible for being responsible, and responsible for being responsible for being responsible, and there's no end to it. So then in this obscure way, everybody wants to get back to the golden age. But they say, if I just acted as I felt and was completely spontaneous, goodness only knows what would happen. Jesus, you see, said to do that. He did. And everybody reads it in the King James Bible where it means nothing. Take no thought for the morrow. What ye shall eat, what ye shall drink, and wherewithal ye shall be clothed. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin.
Ooh,
but I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now if God so clothed the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Oh, I mean, it sounds lovely read in church. But what it says... Everyone says, no, that's the Sermon on the Mount, and that's not practical. Nobody can do that. That may be for a few saints, but after all, in our practical life as practicing Christians in the modern world, we can't do that kind of thing. Well, isn't that funny? Why can't you do it? I mean, that's the real reason for saying it in the first place. Jesus said many very strange things. For example, in the parable of the Pharisee and the publican, how the Pharisee goes up into the front row and says how good he is, and that he's fulfilled all his obligations and paid the tithes. And then there's this publican who goes into the back and sits there and beats his breast and says, God be merciful to me, a sinner. And Jesus says, now that man was the right man. He was justified. But the moment he's told that story, everybody creeps into the back row and says, God be merciful to me, a sinner. And they're all in the front row again. Nobody can do it, you see. That's why the story is told. In the same way, he says, take no thought for the morrow. Stop being anxious, like going to a psychiatrist. He says to you, oh, don't worry me, stop being nervous. Can you? See, nobody can. And also they find out, you see, that really in the end, nobody can be God. Nobody can make life any better by being responsible for it.
Okay, so there's no crafting station there.
Whatever you gain in that direction, you lose at the same time. By being responsible, we've created civilization, medicine, care of the poor, everything. But what a headache the thing has become. As we solve all our problems, we make more problems. Every problem you solve gives you 10 new problems. I'm not saying don't do that, but don't think you're going to get anywhere by doing that. That's one way of arranging it. That's one kind of dance you can have, is to improve everything and have technology. But it doesn't really solve anything. And it's only in the moment, you see, when you fully understand that your situation as a human being is completely insoluble. That there is no answer. Already? And that you give up looking for the answer. That's nirvana. And that's how Buddhism works.
Shit, too. Fuck. So what can I do then if I... I don't like that. I want to craft now. But I think I craft the... Oh, maybe not. Camp Icarus. Let's go to Camp Icarus. There's a crafting session over there. But it's already an hour. The video has finished. I probably will go get some food because it's nearly 1 p.m. So I will craft next time. Hey buddy, hey John. What's up? Oh, oh, hello. That's a big club. Camp Icarus. Who are you, meathead? Jeez, that's someone's pet. Couldn't find a smaller one. Oh. Repair terminal. TT. That's the TT. That's the storage. Oh, butterflies! Chasing butterflies. Hey, buddy. Broska. Broskaya. Hey, Ruby. Hey, girl. Oh. Oh no, they removed the crafting stations. Okay. What about my action? So I sold that for 10 pets. Ooh, good. And I bought that for 14. Okay, don't even remember, but sure. Okay. So there's no crafting stations anymore over here. Hey, buddy. Okay. I will log out. That was a nice mining station. I hope to see you soon. And I will go get some food. Bye.